Welcome to the darkness, where every shadow hides a story. I'm the Doctor, and in this world, reality is just the beginning of the terror. Grab a seat, turn off the lights, and let's dive into tonight's tale of fear. Don't say I didn't warn you. Elara had always loved music. It was her escape, her sanctuary. She spent her days as a violinist in a small orchestra, her nights composing melodies that no one but she ever heard. But music wasn't just her passion. It was her life's rhythm, the only thing that kept her anchored to reality. That changed the day her hearing began to fade. At first it was subtle, a muffled note here, a missed sound there, but within weeks, the silence consumed her. Doctors offered no answers. The world of music she had built her identity around crumbled into nothingness, leaving her adrift in a sea of silence. Her descent into despair was swift. The silence was not empty. It was oppressive, a relentless hum that pressed against her skull. It felt alive, like something watching, waiting. And then the whispers began. The first time Elara heard them, she thought it was her mind playing tricks. She was alone in her apartment, the world utterly soundless. Then faintly, she heard a voice, a low, guttural whisper. "Play for us." Her heart raced. She looked around, but there was no one there. She tried to dismiss it, telling herself it was stress, her imagination filling the void of silence, but the whispers didn't stop. "Play for us, Elara." She hadn't told anyone about the voices. Who would believe her? But they grew louder, more insistent, until she couldn't ignore them. One night, she sat down with her violin, desperate for relief. As she played, something shifted. The air in the room grew heavy, the shadows on the walls seemed to stretch and twist. The whispers swelled, a discordant chorus that made her skin crawl. And then, for the first time in weeks, she could hear. The music flowed from her violin, haunting and sorrowful, a melody she didn't recognize but couldn't stop playing. The whispers quieted, replaced by a low, resonant hum that seemed to come from the walls themselves. When she finished, the room was silent again. But the relief was fleeting. The whispers returned the next night, more demanding than before. "Play for us, Elara. Play or suffer." Elara became a prisoner of her own music. Each night she played until her fingers bled, the haunting melodies pulling her deeper into a darkness she couldn't escape. She stopped going to work, stopped answering calls from friends. Her world shrank to the size of her apartment and the endless, inescapable whispers. One night, she made a mistake. Exhausted, her fingers slipped and a single sour note rang out. The whispers erupted into a cacophony of rage, screaming incomprehensible words. Her violin was ripped from her hands by an unseen force, splintering against the wall. The silence that followed was deafening. And then she felt it, the cold touch of fingers brushing against her neck. Elara ran. She fled into the night, barefoot and panicked, the whispers chasing her through the empty streets. They weren't just voices anymore. Shadows moved at the edges of her vision, shapes that didn't belong to anything human. When they found her body days later, it was in her apartment. She was seated in her chair, her hands positioned as though holding an invisible violin. Her face was frozen in a mask of terror, her ears bleeding profusely. The police couldn't explain the scene. The room was covered in claw-like marks, gouged into the walls and ceiling. And on the floor, written in her own blood, were the words, "Play for us." They say her apartment remains haunted. Late at night, if you stand outside her door, you can hear the faint strains of a violin. And if you listen too closely, you might hear the whispers yourself. Play for us. That's all for tonight, but remember, the night is never truly silent. If you enjoyed The Chill, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more stories that will keep you up at night. Until next time.